Hey family, it's me again. This is the last time you get to hear me this week, or you have to hear me this week maybe. But we were having a conversation at church with Brother Mike and the rest of the staff this week. And one of the things that I miss the most about not being at church and having church is Sunday school. And the thing I miss about not having Sunday school is the fact that I don't get to hear what you have to say, or we don't get to see your face. And I love the conversations that we get to have in Sunday school. So we kind of thought Saturday leading up into Sunday, as Brother Mike and Josh and the rest of the team were making the video for tomorrow morning, maybe Saturday we could do just kind of a short, not so much a devotional, because we want you to apply this and we want you to respond. And so whether you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, we want you to leave comments. I'm going to leave you some questions here in a minute, and we want you to answer those questions. And please keep in mind, don't post stuff that we'll have to delete, right? Once you post it on Facebook, it's there forever. So as we ask these questions at the end, I want you to leave them right down there in the comments section. But the thing I was thinking about for this first day, and next weekend, if we're still not meeting, we'll have maybe Kara or Josh for a different age group, do a kind of a Sunday school thought. But one of the things I was thinking about this week, just for today, was I play PlayStation and Xbox, and I'm still in that generation. But one of the things that I love about PlayStation or Xbox is the fact that if it's not going okay, you can hit the reset button. If the game's not going well, you get a reset. You could power it off, but the reset button allows you to do the same thing you were doing, but you have a different knowledge of how to do it. And I was thinking, maybe even in this time, what would it look like if we did just a reset? You can see I'm over here in the kids section of our house. This is their closet right here. That's what you can see. That's where all their toys go, and it's constantly changing. It's a mess sometimes it's clean. But what they have in that closet is what gets them through the day. So one of the verses that I thought about was Romans chapter 8. Now I'm going to challenge you to read the entire chapter of Romans, but I'm just going to pick out one verse and then ask you some questions based on that. Look what Romans chapter 8, beginning in verse 28, says. Now this is really familiar to you. You can probably repeat it from memory if you've been in church any length of time at all. But Paul, writing to the Romans, says, "And we know that all things work together for the good of those that love God and who are called according to his purpose." Now, here's what we know, okay? He says it right there. We know. What do we know? We know this, that God works. That God works. One of Paul's biggest things is that he mentions over and over in the New Testament is, listen, it's not our works that get us to salvation. It's based on what God did and what God did through Jesus. Now, say hi to Jared again. One of the things that is amazing to me is so many times, and that's why I'm just leaving it live feed, so many times we get interrupted. Our life plans are interrupted. And what do you do with those? So here's question 1 from Romans chapter 8, verse 28. Do you see interruptions as a problem, or do you see interruptions as maybe an invitation? He says, listen, we know they're I know, right? In all things, God works. In all things, God works. Funny thing is, good news about Jesus, he's always working. He's not asleep on the job. He's never late for work. I'm constantly late for work, and I live only a mile away. But he's never late to work, and he's always working. He's never asleep on the job. So anything that he allows to come through his hand, he wants us to see as an invitation. Now, it may look like an interruption. Kids yelling in the house. Even this is day 1 of our self-imposed quarantine. And man, those voices from the kids, they can get on you pretty quick. But man, what an invitation to say, I get to spend time with my kids. Or, man, I get to just spend time getting to do things that they want to do in the house and playing with them. So, as we allow God to work through this, maybe today we start to see those interruptions as invitations. Just as God's way of saying, hey, I'm working. I just want you to slow down. Now, what else does it say? It says this. In all things, God works for the good of those that love Him and who are called according to His purpose. Now, it doesn't feel good right now, and we talked about this yesterday, but we can know that it is good because God is working. And so maybe during this time, even apart, we can start to use this time as preparation for the next season. This reset can be preparation for what God is going to use us to do in the future. And so one of the questions I want you to address below, again, is this. What are some things that I can do right now, either alone or with my family or as a couple? What are some things that we can do to prepare for what's coming next? Again, look, it's an invitation. You hear, Jared? It's an invitation to say, Daddy, play with me. And what a good invitation that is. But what are some things that we can do moving forward to prepare for what God's going to do through this? It's already being seen that God is, man, He's doing so much through this time. And maybe part of that is just causing us to slow down and not be so project-minded all the time. Sometimes you just get to be silent and you get to sit still. And what a gift that is. It says that He's working for the good of those who love Him and who are called according to His purpose. Now, the last question I want to ask you is this. Are you convinced that God can use anything from your life for His purpose? You know, the problem with that is, I know I've got my closet, you've got your closet, and I know what's in there, and you know what's in there. The question is, will we open that closet to Jesus and say, listen, whatever's in that closet is available to use for your glory and for my good? You know, this week, as I was looking through Romans chapter 8, I was reminded of Deuteronomy chapter 6. In Deuteronomy chapter 6, Moses tells the Israelites, he says, listen, one of these days your children are going to come up and say, what were the signs? What are all of these signs? What was the point of all these things that God did in the wilderness? We didn't experience that. And he said, your response is going to be to remind them that, look, God brought us out of slavery to bring us into what He promised. What a beautiful thing. That God brought us out of the normalcy of even 2 weeks ago. And now here we are in this little window of time where He's preparing us and preparing the world for what He's going to bring us into. Wow. And all He's saying is, listen, open everything up to me. Let's not see the interruption as a problem. Let's see this interruption as an invitation to draw closer to God and maybe draw closer to our families and even grow closer to each other through these kind of applications. But secondly, know that God is doing all of these things for our good as He's working. And finally, there's going to be purpose in everything. Even in this, God is going to move and He's going to have His way. And the question for us is, what can I do today to prepare for what He's wanting me to do in the next season? Okay, we're in preparation time. So 3 questions. Number 1, if God is working for my good, can I see an invitation, or what can I do to see this interruption as an invitation? What are some steps that you could take personally to see this interruption in your life as an invitation to what He's calling you to? What are some things, or what are some ways that I can, as a person, just invite God to say, listen, whatever's in my closet is open for you to use. I want your purpose in my life and not mine. Now, again, we don't want to know what's in your closet. That's not what I'm asking you to put in the comments below. But the question is, God, what is in my closet and what can you use? How can I open myself up more to your purposes? Now, it's going to be an intimacy issue for a lot of us. But you can see that I'm wearing the same shirt that I was wearing yesterday. Yep, this is what I fell asleep in. This is what I woke up in. And a lot of us are facing that. Not with a t-shirt, but with a life, man. The life I fell asleep in last night, I'm still waking up to. And it's the same problems, and it's the same interruptions, and it's the same issues. But man, what if those interruptions and those problems and issues were invitations from God himself to say, listen, I just want you to slow down. I want you to talk to me. I want you to spend time in my word and know that I'm working. And I'm working for your good. And I'm going to use all of this for a purpose. In fact, he's bringing us all in, or he's bringing us all out of this and bringing us into the thing that he promised us. We love you, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning around 10:30 as Brother Mike brings us a word.